You're listening to Biz-Souls, the business podcast with an edge, hosted by me, Rona Lewis, and Jeffrey Hansler. Tune in for perspectives and discoveries about the changing world of business. It's time to connect to the heart, soul, and humor of how business gets done. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's exciting episode of Biz-Souls. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler, and we get to the heart and soul of business and the people that make it happen.
Yay! And this week, we have a really interesting guest who is, well, God, Nina, you have done so many things, and we are talking about one of the things she is doing. We're talking about dating and online meeting and all that kind of thing. I'm going to read her official introduction. Now, is it Jarnum? Is that how I pronounce it?
Yes,
okay.
That is it. Yeah.
Okay. Nina Jarnum was born and raised in Denmark and moved to England in her 20s, where she graduated law school. She has taught yoga, breathwork, and mindfulness all over the world, which is, isn't that the next step after graduating law school? Has written for major fitness magazines and worked with Start Today for the Today Show. When she originally entered the world of online dating, she quickly realized what important tools her years of mindfulness practice and self-observation were. And as she had amazing date after amazing date, friends started asking for advice, then friends of friends, and so on. She started offering dating advice, profile revisions and coaching, algorithm training, and even picking dates and starting conversations. Nina is now the author of the book, I'm going to say it, Fuck Kissing Frogs, which is a guide to online dating for women in their 40s and beyond, I'm assuming. She uses her knowledge and experience as a mindfulness teacher to help people on a conscious journey of healthy dating. She believes authenticity, self-care, a willingness to be uncomfortable, and most of all, gratitude is the secret to not just finding love, but also a happy life. Holy crap, Nina, you need to be my best friend.
That was a mouthful.
So, Jeffrey, ask your question.
I always get to ask the first question. So
Yeah.
The question is what'd you want to be when you grew up?
Oh my God, I wanted to be a horse rider.
Really? Dressage? Dressage, English, Western? You wanted to be a cowgirl?
So I did a lot of horse riding. I started out as a show jumper and actually competed on a national level when I was a young teenager. And then I started moving into dressage later, and I even did 3-day eventing. But that was, when I was a kid, that was my whole life was horse riding. And then when I was about 19, 20, I got a meniscus injury, and a doctor told me that the idea of me riding 10 horses a day for the rest of my life probably wasn't great, and I should probably think about doing something else maybe.
Okay.
There you go. We love those sports injuries.
And then, so
Yeah.
how'd you transition? So did you want to be a journalist or writer? Writing's obviously
I think
part
writing was always part of my life. I wrote a lot in school. It was always kind of like simmering there. I think if you spoke to my Danish literature teacher from school, I'm sure it's like he is not surprised at all that I ended up writing a book. But no, after high school, I actually took a couple of years out, and I lived in Copenhagen and had a lot of fun there. And then I moved to London, and I had a lot of fun there. And during those 2 years, I kind of came up with the idea that it's like I should study law. That's another thing. I've always been interested in like politics, society, how that all works. So I ended up getting into law in Bristol, and I moved to Bristol and got a law degree.
Fabulous.
And did you actually use it? I mean,
I like to say I used it for 5 minutes. So I graduated law school. I worked for, I'm going to say about a year. And I mean, I loved studying law. I have no regrets there. And working in law, it wasn't my jam. I think lawyers take themselves really seriously. It was a bit boring. I mean, I don't know. I don't do so well with people who take themselves too seriously. I mean, you've got to be able to make a joke about yourself. So there was an opportunity to move to California, and I was just like, I took it. And I don't know, I'm a hell yes kind of person. So when these kind of random opportunities arise, I just kind of go with it.
Right,
and
right.
I did.
Nice. How long have you been here?
I have been here now for like 17 years,
Oh,
I
so
think, since
wow.
2006. So what
Wow.
is that now? Oh, yeah, 17
A long
years.
time. Just after, yeah, I moved to California 2005. So yeah, we moved about the same time. Have you lived in Petaluma for that long, or you moved
I
to?
actually have. And I was
Oh,
thinking the other day, it's like, wow, in another year, this is the place I've lived the longest in my whole life.
wow.
Wild. But it's the perfect place. I
Well,
gotta
and
say,
it's wine country. What could be bad?
I
So
live in wine country. I can I am a half an hour from the Golden Gate Bridge. So I got the city right there. I got the beach. I can drive up to Tahoe in 3 hours. And it's so everything is right there. And of course, all the wineries. I can roll out of bed and be in a winery. So
Right.
yeah.
my kind of day.
I'm laughing because as long as there's no traffic, right, that the 101 gets just jammed.
The 101 is always interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Not as bad as LA though, I gotta say.
so I worked for a guy named Tom Vanderloo at Holland Automation, and he said that, the Dutch, besides speaking a lot of languages, and so you speak English, Dutch, I'm taking German, French as well.
So I'm actually like Danish and Dutch, two different
Danish?
things.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Sorry.
but we're pretty similar in that. Yeah, I learned German in school and Spanish. So I don't know. I think Danes have a slightly different idea of like speaking languages. When can you actually say you speak a language? So you can say you speak a language when you speak it fluently. So
Right.
I can get around in Germany. I can get
Right.
around in Spain, but I speak a bit, I would say.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite finish the question. I was going to say the Dutch are
Sorry.
this way, are the Danes the same way? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm Danish background.
Nice.
And so then how did the dating come up?
You know what? It kind of just happened very organically. I got divorced a few years ago, and I was in a couple of relationships that kind of like met organically. And I came out of a 1.5 year long relationship, and I was like, I should try this online dating thing. And I very quickly found out that I was really good at it from two different angles. I was really good at setting up a profile, but I was also really good at picking. So I had all these amazing dates, and my friends were like, what are you doing that we're not doing? Because I mean, you're cute, but so are we. And I basically started out with me, okay, give me your app, like give me your phone, let me go through. And I just started making little changes to their profiles. And then I started pointing out, it's like that guy, and that guy. I want you, these are the guys you're going to go for. And then eventually that became friends of friends started contacting me. And eventually I had like strangers saying, I got your phone number from this person who got it from this person. Could you possibly help me? So it just kind of grew from there. And
So now you
again,
charge people for it.
exactly. And I was like, okay, this is actually something I'm really good at.
Yeah.
And eventually I was like, I should just put all this into a fun little book and just get it out there, make it available to everybody.
Good
So
idea.
yeah, it was just very organically. This is not something I studied. It was just, I had a natural knack for it and I went with it.
So you talk about your yoga and mindfulness. Was that where you were a yoga teacher? Are you
Yeah.
a yoga teacher now, and that's how you?
I still am. Yeah. I love teaching yoga and breath work and mindfulness. And yeah, I think it's been such a tool in this whole dating thing, because I really think, I mean, what it comes down to is the ability to observe yourself and your reactions to what you're presented with when you're dating, and getting really clear about what you want. So again, we're back to observing yourself. What do you actually need? And I think the number one problem for people dating is the fact that they confuse the nice to haves with their needs, and they sacrifice their needs over these nice to haves. I call it the squirrel moment, where you're on your online dating app and you're swiping along, and you might even have some kind of concept of what my needs are, and then it's like, squirrel, cute boy. You get all distracted with these people who are not your people anyway. And then you go on bad date after bad date, and you get frustrated, and you're like, the internet is full of narcissists and idiots, and I'm so done with online dating.
So,
Yeah.
so just a little history. When Match.com first came out, I got on it as a journalist, and I told Match.com, so they sponsored me on it to just find out what people were doing. So Match.com was the big one that I was on. This is back in early 2000s, something like that. And then Dr. Phil came on, and then they pulled the plug on me, and they said, okay, we got Dr. Phil now. Now, when did you get on?
So I got on a couple of years ago. So I am like
new. This is all new.
Yeah. So I just Match.com is the OG.
Right.
And it still is. It is still one of the biggest dating apps. It really is. And I think it's especially for our age group. And I think to a certain extent, it's still seen as the app where if you're looking for a serious relationship, that is, I think I'm trying to think about the statistics now. It's like it is the highest percentage of people, or it has the highest percentage of people who are looking for a serious relationship.
Well, because you have to pay for it. People don't want to pay. If you go on Hinge or Bumble well, Tinder's a totally different story.
So I mean, Tinder in it's its own little. I mean, I can't. Yeah, Tinder is not my jam.
I don't consider that a dating app. Yeah.
No, neither do I. But I actually think so Hinge and Bumble, I mean, they also all have paid options, and I am like, always take the paid option.
Yeah.
It's better features, and it's worth it. Absolutely, always do the paid version.
It's a good tip.
Yeah.
You're up to tips.
No,
you're early, but that's good. That's okay.
So
go ahead, Jeffrey.
Where was your which one worked out best for you at the time? Not saying that it's going to work out best for, because I'm sure you recommend different ones for different people based on their needs and their wants.
Yes, I certainly do. And it's like, who are you as a person? What's working really well for you? My personal app was Hinge. It worked really well for me. Again, I think it's slightly older, more like well-educated professional crowd, and again, also statistically, it's got quite a high percentage of people who are actually looking for a relationship. And I just thought it's a fun app. It's very prompt based, so you can make a really fun profile and an interesting profile, because so Hinge will give you prompts to answer on your profile, which I think it's a way of getting information out that you wouldn't necessarily put out there. And I think one of my favorites was, I think they do two truths and a lie.
Yeah.
So, and it's such a great conversation starter. So, and it gets you automatically to tell your most crazy stories of your life. And then a person has something to start a conversation with. It's like, well, that one's got to be true. I'm guessing that one is wrong. And then you have a conversation going. Plus, by the time you go on a date, you're like, I want to hear the real story behind the true stories. But like, I had one that was, he was once a card counter in Vegas. And I'm like, I will go on a date with you just for that story. That is fantastic. So I love the way it's set up like that.
That's great. That's great. So I think that's a good piece of advice too, looking at that's actually what we in the play business, or in anyone actually who does facilitation, it's a warm-up.
Yeah.
It allows people to be comfortable with what they share right off the bat. Not everyone's as comfortable laying out their biggest, darkest secrets.
Yes, absolutely.
So how about, sorry.
Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Ladies first.
Thank you. Your clientele, mostly women, half and half?
So far, it is women. So I'm actually working on the male version of this book. So there will be males in the future. I'm diving into this, but no, until now, like, I'm all female, and it's all females I have a few late 30s, and otherwise it's over 40.
Okay.
What's
So
your rule on,
it's a niche audience.
what's
Yes.
your, do you have any rules or guidelines on photos? Because, you know, there's a lot of people put out, what is it, kitty fishing or something?
I think number one, don't, and this is for the ladies, because the guys don't really do that. It's like, don't use filters. Have like new photos. I think so. I interviewed a lot of men for the book I wrote. It's like, and the number one pet peeve, and I'm sure you're gonna agree with me, is turning up on a date and you barely recognize the person.
Yeah,
Because
I
photos,
have heard that. And you know what? I've experienced it where, I'm looking and I want to date an athlete, someone who's in very few men my age are as good a shape as I am in, but look like you do athletic things. And then they're like, they come in and they're 30, 40 pounds overweight. And they're like, well, that was from 10 years ago.
right, exactly. Like, don't do that. Keep it up to date. And I always kind of like, I like to say, it's like, you remember, you're not throwing out a fishing net, you're throwing out a line.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't, you're not trying to get as many clicks, as many swipes, as many likes as possible. You're aiming to get the person who's actually going to be interested in you.
Right.
So if you're putting up pictures of you from 10 years ago when you had a six-pack, and you turn up with a gut and 30 pounds overweight, then you're setting yourself up for failure, because you're setting yourself up to go on a date with somebody who's not into you. So you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. You're wasting their time. So no filters. Keep the photos up to date. There has to be a full body picture. And I think a lot of women are insecure about that. They don't want to post a whole body. But again, every man I've spoken to is like, if that's not a full body picture, it's a red flag. And it has nothing to do with how you look, by the way, because I think men are way more forgiving than ladies when it comes to bodies.
Yeah.
It's just about knowing what you're walking into. It's about knowing who you are going to meet on this date somewhat. And nobody likes to be deceived. And I kind of compare it a little bit. When I talk to women, I'm like, it is like going on a date with somebody who on their dating app say they're 6'2", and then somebody who's 5'7" turns up. And it's not
happened to me quite a few times.
right. It happens all the time. That is another one. It's like, that's the one that guys
measure.
And I'm like, and this is the thing, it's not even about, I have no problem with a short king. I mean, I'm dating someone who's lovely and tall, but I have dated plenty of people in my life who are shorter. Mm-hmm. And I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem is, like, number one, you're trying to deceive me. Number two, do you think I'm an idiot? You think I don't see when we turn up on this date that you're not 6'2"? Right. I mean, I'm sorry, what? It's the deception that's not cool. Oh. And it's the same thing with women.
Okay, so what's the psychology? I mean, from your perspective, why are they misrepresenting? Why is it such a strong push to misrepresent yourself? What do you think you're going to get away with? Or what do you think you're going to bring to the table that's going to make them go, oh, I forgive you for lying?
But I think a lot of people, actually, I know, because I spoke to so many people. I wanted to hear all their pet peeves, all their, like, what do you do and when do you do that? And it is really, they think, okay, I'm going to put this out there to get them to click on me, to swipe on me. And then I'm going to get them out on this date, and they're going to see how amazing and funny and cute I am. And they're going to look through it. It's fine then. And again, I'm like, keep it honest from the start. Be really clear about what you want, what you're looking for, and how you look. And you're much more likely for that first date to actually be successful. And it doesn't mean that if you lie on your dating app, it doesn't mean that you might not meet that person who's like, yeah, but I really enjoy your company, so I will look through fingers with these little lies. But I would say that there's a huge percentage chance that it's not the case, and they're going to be like, you're not what I expected to walk into here, so I'm not into it.
Yeah, with men, what drives me nuts on their pictures is sunglasses. I can't see what they look like, and 97.6% of men have the pictures with sunglasses. I don't understand.
Men are horrific. Men are horrific at photos. I mean, I got to say, I mean, I have a decent sized chapter on taking good photos in the female version of this book. Mm-hmm. The male, it will be a huge, huge chapter. Men are shit at taking good photos. They're always taking them in the car. A car selfie.
Yeah.
Solid no.
What the heck?
Holding a fish. No. Taking the picture from down here. So we're looking up your nostril on your double chin. No.
Oh my God, it's frightening. Or they will post pictures with 15 people, and it's like, which one are you?
Right. That's another thing. And again, I also mentioned this in the book. The only time a group picture is a good idea, kind of like, okay, if you are running over the finish line from a marathon and there are lots of other people in the picture, it's like, yeah, because there's a point to that. You're telling a story. You're telling us like, this is what I'm all about. So fine. But group pictures with you and all your girlfriends drunk in Cabo, I mean, no. If he has to spend time looking at who is she in this picture, don't add it to your profile. He does not need to know that you went to Senor Frogs in Cabo.
Right.
All your girlfriends.
Okay, wait. Oh, Rona, I've got a. This is getting.
Go ahead, ask your question. He's like, I can see he's rearing it out.
I'd hire you as a coach because I probably need it. So here's some full disclosure. So I had what I thought was the love of my life. You know, it was so close, and it missed, and it probably should have missed. Anyway, so when my number one thing right now is business, except I don't have a relationship. So when I'm meeting people, I am flat out. Are you looking for a relationship? No. If the right one comes along, yeah, I'm not looking. So I've got a friend who is a total player, and we've had some people in common that we've met, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm looking for a relationship. He's a total player. So they'd rather listen to the lies than the truth. So, and that truth, that's the thing. I think, you know, if I was going to make a global center, women want to be, they want to be,
women
they want
do
to be,
not want to be lied to.
you know, they want to hear a story. They want to hear a story that allows them to make decisions. I think so. Anyway, but
as opposed to someone who says that, because we're definitely disagreeing. I do want a relationship, but it's not the kind of relationship most women want.
Right. So anyway, this also gets to the if they're not proud of their body, or if they're not proud, or they have a toupee, or they are wearing glasses, or they're short, or they're tall. It's the same thing. It's like, what level of honesty?
Or they lie about their age.
Yeah. I mean, it's isn't the question about honesty in dating? Like, how honest can you be, or is there too much honesty?
I mean, again, I think, and I also talk about this in the book. It's like, don't write your life story on the dating app. Your dating app is a little introduction to you. But I believe in honesty, actually. And when I started dating, I call it my hoe face, by the way. I had my hoe face. I was generally dating. I would date 3 guys at a time. I had the time of my life, by the way.
Okay, I just want to check. Did you say whole face or hoe face?
Hoe.
Okay.
Hoe. My hoe face.
Okay.
But no, I had all the fun when I seriously started online dating to start with. I was like, I'm going to date several men at a time. For me, the reason was actually the fact that I wanted to stay kind of cool in the relationship. I didn't want to fall in too fast. So until I met someone where I truly felt it's like, ooh, I want to dive into the rabbit hole with this guy. I would date several people, because then it kind of stops you from getting
Absolutely.
oh my God, I'm really excited about this guy, because you're like, yeah, but I also have dinner with this guy tomorrow, so it's fine. So
I think it's a smart thing to do, because
emotionally, for me, it worked. It doesn't mean it works for everybody, by the way, but it really worked for me. So I would generally date 3 guys at a time. And I was very open with them about that. It's like, I'm dating other people. We are dating other people. It is all good. And so, yeah, I think I would certainly prefer honesty, but I can also see, I mean, when your player friend is telling them, oh, I'm looking for a relationship, I mean, it's not that they want to be lied to. They want to believe the lie. They want a relationship. So they look at this guy who talks a great game, and they're like, oh my God, he's really interesting. I really want to be with this guy. And I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he gets laid, but yeah, I don't know. I like going deeper with people, and I believe if you want to go deeper with people, you need to be clear about what you want. And I mean, I remember actually writing on my dating profile, I wrote something like, I'm looking for somebody who's ready to be emotionally intimate with plenty of big dick energy. So it was a little funny, but it was also serious. It's deadly serious. Like if you're not in a place to be emotionally intimate, I'm not interested. You're not gonna have me full time. You might have a couple of fun dates with me, but you're not gonna have me full time.
There you go. So you give that advice in the book.
I give the advice, yeah, stay honest, be clear about what you want as well. But of course, like, yeah, there are always going to be players out there, but then it's up to you to kind of differentiate.
Yeah.
And I think you need to really listen. People tend to give themselves away. And so I've always been an observer of people. I'm the one, if I don't need to talk all the time. I will stand back and let you do the talking because I will observe you. And people will always give themselves away.
Yeah.
So a player, even though they're talking a good game, if you are really listening to what they're saying, they will give themselves away. And then you can decide to consciously go with it. It's like, I'm going to have some fun with this guy, or walk away. But listen to what they say. Listen.
And you can usually tell, can't you? Because you don't get a word in edgewise and it's all about them.
Yeah, but you also, I mean, there will always be clues in what they say to who they really are.
And do you think American values are different than, say, European values in terms of dating and relationships? Because that's one of the subjects that you hear about all the time. A lot of American men are saying, "I'm just done with American women. They have a specific agenda. It's 7 years. Take the money and run."
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've never dated an American woman, so. But I would say.
Well, you should try it.
Well, I would say, and speaking from actually, like, also what I've heard from men, I think to a certain degree, yes. I think European women, and I'm gonna cut this in half and say Northern European women, because I think it's a little different the more south you go. I think we are raised in a culture with a lot more financial independence for women, a lot more expectation that we take care of ourselves. In over here, there's still largely a tradition is like, you have kids, you stay home with your kids. I did that as well, and that doesn't really exist much in like Northern Europe. It's like, you have your kid, you also have your paid 9-month maternity leave, but then you go back to work, and that's what you do. So women are very independent, and it also means, I can take Denmark. So Denmark has one of the highest divorce rates in the world, and I don't see it as a bad thing at all. The reason the divorce rate is so high is that women are not trapped in marriages. If women are not happy in Denmark, they walk away because they earn their own money, they got their own stuff going on. And there's also, the laws are a little bit different. So in Denmark, you can get divorced online in 10 minutes.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And the financial stuff, it is so clear. Like, you don't walk away with a bunch of money. It is like 50-50 done. Ooh, it's super simple.
It's those lawyers again.
That's right.
Yes, it is lawyers, man. Exactly. You are absolutely right. Oh my God. So it's more complicated over here, I think, but I don't know. I don't know. I know a lot of divorced women. I don't know anybody who like got married and then it's like, I'm going to take him for everything and walked away. And I'm not saying that doesn't exist. It just, they're not the women that I hang out with. They're not my people. So I think I don't think it's hard to find a woman who's not about that at all.
Equality.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one more tip from the book, and then we got to go.
All right. I think, know how to train the algorithm. Understand that you're dealing with an algorithm. So apps like Match.com, it's less so because they're much more kind of like personality matching and all that. But apps like Hinge and Bumble, understand that it is a computer program. I think often we think it's some kind of like magic thing that goes and you should meet this person.
Oh.
Be aware that every move you do on that app will interpret stuff from that. So whoever you are looking for on that app, the app will remember and show you more of that. So, and this is what I tell everybody. You need to choose 2 things that absolute deal breakers for you, absolute needs. So I'm going to use myself as an example. You have to be well educated. You have to be well traveled. And that's just because I know if those 2 are not present, I'm going to be bored with you in 2 weeks. I'm just like, yeah. So I went in initially and I clicked yes on people who had those 2 qualities. Even though if I didn't want to go on a date with them, by the way, I clicked on them because I wanted the app to know I was looking for those 2 qualities. And this took me like 10 minutes. And the app started showing me more or less only men with those 2 qualities. It picks up on it so fast. So, and
now
then
this is on the paid versions, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And once you do that, again, to maintain that algorithm training, you have to be really aware who you click on. So when you see that cute yoga boy with the man bun, don't click on him if he does not have those 2 needs. It's like, do not click. Don't spend too much time on a profile with someone who doesn't have those really core qualities that you're looking for. So even though he's super hot and he's got this amazing six pack, if he doesn't have those qualities, if you spend too much time looking at that profile, this is what you're going to be shown more of. And then suddenly your app is full of fuckboys. And you're thinking that's only bad guys.
Shut up and come here.
Exactly. There's only shitty guys on the internet suddenly. And it's just not true. It's so just be very, very conscious about how you actually approach and how you behave on those apps, because that app is trying to help you, by the way, by gathering all this information about your behavior.
Very, very good. Fantastic. And I, just from a business standpoint, I think one company owns the majority of the dating sites out there now.
Yeah.
They're all, it's all owned by Match. So they've covered the market.
Yeah. Match owns Hinge. Match owns, do they own Tinder? I can't remember, but yeah, the Match owns like a huge portfolio. Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Pretty wild. Wow.
Yes.
Nina, this has been so enlightening. I'm going to get your book.
It's been so much fun.
I'm done. I'm done already.
Yes.
So how can people get in touch with you?
I am on, my website is Nina Jarnum, that's JANU.com. And my Instagram handle is the same, Nina Jarnum. My Twitter X handle, everything is Nina Jarnum. So if you search Nina Jarnum, I will come up.
Okay.
Outstanding. Well, and it was good. It's good because I think people get in trouble, and you were very specific on things. People get in trouble with too many generalizations. Even the generalization that all women are, in America are going to get this. And you get into the specifics of it. And I think that's what's important, especially for somebody looking for that special connection.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I think also like the main thing is like get really clear about what you actually want.
Right.
And not what would be nice to have.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. This has been fantastic. Nina, thank you so much.
It's been so much fun
with us. This was great.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And thank you, Jeffrey, for setting everything up and doing the wonderful tech work that you always do.
We're getting there. We're having fun. All right.
Doing good.
All right. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler.
And this has been Biz-Souls. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Biz-Souls podcast with your hosts, Rona Lewis and Jeffrey Hansler. Did you have fun? Subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Talk to you next week.